Welcome once again to your update from the city of New Hope. Each week we get together with the mayor, Kathi Hemken, to find out what's new in the city and what you need to do. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. I'm just fine. Just sitting in front of my beautiful golf course.
Yes, we love the updated picture there. All the green behind you. It is definitely the place to go. And we'll talk a little bit about the golf court in just a minute. But first, we want to talk about Elevate Hennepin, something we've talked about a few times. And I understand you've had a few early successes. Tell us more.
Well, Elevate Hennepin comes out of Hennepin County, and what it does is try to help businesses not only to get started, but to thrive. And they have all kinds of services that they offer for free. The city goes into a contract with Elevate Hennepin. Well, we've had two businesses that have used about 16 hours of advice time. And mostly they're talking about how to get businesses not only into the city, but how Elevate Hennepin can help them get into the city and help them get started. So it's really a great program, and it's free to the residents.
All right, go to the city's website, newhopemn.gov, to find out more about it. And also Elevate Hennepin has their own website as well for more information. Street banners, tell us where these banners normally are and what the update process is that's going on right now.
Well, they'll mostly be on 42nd. If you notice, the ones that are there are very nice, but they're getting a little faded, and it's time to look for something new. So our communications coordinator is working on a couple designs for us. When she gets those ready, she'll give those to the city council to look at, and we'll pick a few to do, and then they'll get new banners. So I don't know when these banners will go up. I don't know how long it takes to do them, but we'll have new banners coming, and they'll say something wonderful about New Hope, I'm sure.
Very nice. The Rave Awards, we've talked about this a few times. Now the time to get some nominations in. Remind us what this great award process is.
Well, if you have a neighbor or you have a house that you've done some really nice things to the interior or the exterior that are just a little special, we want to recognize that. So you can either nominate yourself or nominate your neighbor until July 21st. We'll have a team that'll come out and look at what's there, whether it's a flower garden, a vegetable garden, you redid the front, or some interior designing that you've done. So get nominated. We'll do some judging, and then you'll be rewarded sometime in September, October.
All right. Through the city's website, you can find out more ways to register and nominate. Scattered site housing, continuing in community development. Let's talk about a property. We see some pictures here. 3611 Louisiana. A change has finally occurred, and there's no more house.
The house is gone. They did discover a heating tank underground, and so that had to come out, and they had to dispose of that properly. That's been done. They were grinding up the stumps both on the east or the north and the south of the property. So that's been done. So now what we'll do is we'll send out proposals to builders, and we'll get those back probably mid-June. And then on the 26th of June, the city council will pick a vendor, a builder, to build a house there. So you should see something happening probably early July.
One other site to update residents on is 5306 Rhode Island. What is the latest there?
Well, we thought we had that sold. Actually, we don't own it. The builder owns it. Thought he had it sold. The financing fell through, so it's back on the market again. I've toured that house. It's absolutely gorgeous. So if you're interested in a new house in New Hope, go look at that one. It's really nice.
Now to the business networking group, get you involved with businesses and organizations in the area. They have a meeting coming up here in early June and also mid-July. What is on the schedule?
Well, when I say it's a networking group, it is the networking group. They spend a lot of time talking to each other, passing around business cards. We find that a lot of the businesses do business with the other businesses in New Hope and Crystal. So we've taken Crystal into the fold, and it's called the New Hope Crystal Business Networking Group. They're going to meet on the 7th of June at City Hall. The person speaking or hosting it is going to be from the Chamber of Commerce in Minneapolis, because we're part of that chamber now. And the next one will be July 19th, and that will be at Pocket Square at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The one on the 7th is at 8:30 in the morning, so there'll be coffee and maybe a donut.
Very nice. All right. One other business update to pass along. A longtime business, I understand, has a new owner. Tell us more about that.
It does. This one gets a little bit of background. So people remember the Sunshine Factory. The Sunshine Factory, the two owners kind of split, And one took the name, the Sunshine Factory, moved to Plymouth. The other one kept the business in New Hope and named it Pub 42. Now he has retired and he sold that to another owner who is going to call it New Hope Pub. They tell me that nothing is going to change. The menu will be the same and the operation will pretty much be the same. They'll have the same hours. So you won't really notice other than the sign is going to be different.
All right, let's go to the police department and let's head just down the block from the Pub 42, Dunkin' Donuts there. And recently a lot of activity up on the roof for a very good reason. You've got some numbers to pass along.
We talked about how fun that was last week, but I wanted to know how much. So it was $800 that we raised. But in the state, they did that all over the state at Dunkin' Donuts, and they raised $37,000. And all of that money goes to Special Olympics. So thanks to all those people that drove by, dropped some money into the bucket that got pulled up onto the roof. And thanks for the police officers that were there attending to that.
Yeah, great community effort. All right, Public Works, let's highlight a few things happening in the world of maintenance. And we want to talk about spray patching, pavilion cleanup, and fire hydrant flushing. Tell us more.
Okay, so the potholes. I thought when they called it spraying the potholes, I thought they were going to spray just black dirt and call it good. What they actually do is they mix rocks and tar and basically pump it. They don't spray it. They pump it into the holes, and then they run over it with that big roller thing to press it down in. Mm-hmm. And that's the way they fix the pothole. So if you have a pothole that hasn't been fixed and you want to make sure it's on the list, you need to call Public Works. Okay. And you can call City Hall. They'll connect you to Public Works. We want to get those potholes fixed. We don't want you to have to suffer with them. And we want to get them fixed, but they can't redo all the streets. So they fix the potholes that they can. And that's how they fix them. And they call it spraying them, but it's not really spraying. It's more like loading them up with stuff. We don't want sinkholes like they had in Brooklyn Park.
No, we'll try to miss that. And how about the pavilion? This must be a sign that things are already happening and people are using the pavilions.
Well, they are. When they rent them, they're supposed to clean them up, but after that, there's always some stuff that needs to be done. So they power wash the cement and they get rid of all the garbage and stuff that's there. Even though it's put in the bins, you still have to do some work to get it cleaned up. Mm-hmm. So we do rent those quite often in the summer. That's a very profitable thing for us. The other thing, if you see water running down the street, it's because they're flushing out the hydrants. And they have to do all the hydrants. They want to make sure that the water pressure is good in those hydrants. And the only way to check that is to open them up. And when they open them up, the water just goes on the street, and it seems like a waste. But quite frankly, if I have a fire in my house, I want to make sure that fire hydrant has the pressure it needs. So they're busy doing that among all the other stuff they're doing.
Yep, a great annual process. Let's talk about rain gardens in the city. And recently a crew out doing some planting. Where were they? What did they plant?
Well, they planted about 200 plants at Hidden Valley Park and at Northwood Park. And these rain gardens are a way to trap any pollutants that there is before it goes into the lake or the streams or the ponds. And so it's very important that we get these rain gardens and we keep them up so they don't just get full of weeds. They get full of actual plants that bloom and filter out the water. So they've been busy doing that.
All right, it's construction season. Some construction now happening underground in one area. Where is the area that is going to have some water main work?
Well, around Sonneson Elementary, they're going to be doing some water main repairs. Now, in some cases, they actually tear up the street to do that. In some places, they could do it just by lining the water main. But your water usage will be either shut off or rerouted somehow. And you'll get a message in the mail telling you what's going to happen. If you have any questions to that, you can always go online onto the city's website and look at what is the latest construction, 2023 construction. Okay. And it'll tell you what's going on and exactly where it is.
All right, let's hop over to Meadow Lake, talk about that management plan. What are they doing now? It sounds like we're maybe into the testing and checkup mode.
Well, they sprayed again for curly pond leaf weed. And anyway, what happens now after the company does that, they'll start going back to Meadow Lake and checking the water to see if that alum treatment that they did before this, and if they're getting rid of the curly pondweed. So they'll be checking on that on a regular basis. I don't know how they do the checking, but they do to see if that's really working. I did notice that the ponds at the golf course are starting to get overrun with cattails again. So I don't know if they're going to do something about that or they just let that happen. Most of those ponds are only a couple feet deep. And because of that, and when they got so dry, all that seed blew in there and now they're reseeding. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but if I find out, I'll let you know.
All right. It is tough to stay ahead of that process. You mentioned just a second ago, work on the sanitary sewers. Again, mentioned the lining process. Where is that going to be happening in the next few weeks?
Mostly on the north end of the city, like 60th, 61st, 62nd, around that area, Virginia, West Broadway. So if you see the big trucks there, that's what they're doing. What they actually put in is it's a lot like sausage making. They put in this lining into the sewer system and then they back out just to line it. It actually gives us a few more years on that sewer system, so we don't have to go in and dig up the streets to do that. So this has seemed to be very successful. We want to keep all of the weeds and things out of that, the tree roots, and this lining does that to keep it out.
All right, let's move to Park and Rec. A lot happening, as you might imagine, this time of the year. And first, we'll start with these great pictures of young dancers. They took over a stage recently, and there was a big crowd to see them, I understand.
Well, it was 2 days on the weekend and 2 performances each day. The real little ones only do 1 performance, but there were over 2,000 people that came to this. It's so cute to watch. We have a lot of dancers in our program, and it's well coordinated. And they also were able to celebrate 30 years of Melissa being the coordinator for this program. So bless her heart, thank you for that. She's been so involved with these kids for so long. Now she's got a lot of these kids working with the younger kids in the dance program.
Right. Yeah, what a great program that is. All right, let's talk about tree and weed inspections, and a special note about the weeds and the grass inspections because we're at about the end of May.
We are. So they're checking the trees for emerald ash borer. So if you don't have an orange dot on your tree and you think it's sick, now this can't be one in your yard, it has to be one on the boulevard. Let us know because we somehow must have missed it. So we'll go out and check to see if it's actually dead or if it's got the emerald ash borer, we'll take that down. The other thing is our ordinance doesn't allow for weeds. So you have to mow your grass. And we decided that instead of officially calling May no mow May, because we're not really sure of the implications of that, we just let people, if they didn't want to mow, they didn't have to, but we are at the end of May. So you must mow. And if you don't, you'll probably get a citation from the weed inspector. I believe they'll give you a few days to get that mowed, but please get your grass mowed. It's going to be a lot harder to mow because it's gotten pretty long with all this nice sunny weather, but you need to mow before the end of May and it's coming close.
All right, let's talk about some planting that went on and also some cleanup work. Start with planting number 1. You had a group of commissioners out cleaning things up, making them look pretty neat.
So we have a Citizens Advisory Commission, and this is the 2nd year now. We buy the plants, the city does, and they kind of portion them out so everybody knows how many they are to do. I think we have 11 planters, not positive on that. So the CAC goes out and they plant these planters, and then Public Works will come by and water them on a regular basis. So they're right along 42nd Avenue. They really look pretty once they get going, but they take a little while till they're growing, and they need to be watered.
Yep. All right, city staff also out doing some cleanup at a park, which has a pretty neat history to it. Give us that history and the park they cleaned up.
So it's called Dorothy Mary Park, and it's in the northern part of the city. That park in 1966, 6 acres were donated to the city by Milton Hansi, who was our first mayor. He donated them in his wife's name. And so part of the covenant with that donation was that it would remain natural. So if you haven't been there, look on the map in your In Motion. It'll show you where it is. And it's just a nice walk through the woods. And there's little bridges to go over, and it's really quite nice. And of course, they clean it up every year. So thanks to not only Public Works and city staff, but to any volunteers that help us clean up that park. It was a fun thing to do.
Fantastic. All right. And here it is that In Motion has the park map in it, as well as many other things we'll be talking about here shortly. Let's go to the golf course final area that planting is going on. They're doing some planting at that beautiful course right behind you, amongst other things.
Amongst other things, these guys are so busy. They start mowing like at 6 o'clock in the morning. So they're planting the flower beds, but of course they take a long time to get them planted. And we have a rain garden that goes into our pond, and that was taken care of by the people from Stantec a couple of weeks ago. So that's got new plants in it, and the weeds have been removed. The other thing they're doing is they're grinding up the stumps that they cut down the trees over the winter. So it's kind of noisy over there. So they're grinding up the stumps and they're taking away all that stuff. And then they're fertilizing the greens. So between mowing and fertilizing and watering and planting, they're really busy over there. We've got a lot of seasonal employees that are working, and they're working to keep that golf course looking just like it does now.
It looks beautiful. All right, a quick sneak peek inside the ice arena, because the South Rink is getting oh so close to being ready.
It is. Remember, we've talked about taking it out and putting in the cement and watching the cement cure and all that stuff. Well, it is cured. So now they've turned on the refrigeration in that ice rink on the south side, and they're starting to make ice. This is a long process, I understand. So they put down a layer of water, it freezes, they put down another layer. So many days of doing that with the Zamboni going over it. So that rink, I would guess by the end of the week, should be ready to skate on.
All right.
And they've got people signed up to skate on it already.
I can imagine. And there are people that are wanting to swim, and you have an update that there is water in the pool, correct?
All the pools have got water. Now
Yeah.
they're trying to balance the chemicals. You know, they put some in, check it, put some in, check it. Well, one of the things that is happening though is this week, the evening swim teams will start practicing in the 50-meter pool. So that's going to be ready to go. They'll come inspect the pools. The state comes out and inspects to make sure that the pH is right. And they'll do that on the 31st of May. And then it's ready to go. So it's going to open on the 3rd of June. Now, if you haven't gotten your season pass, your early bird season pass, it's $65, and you have until 4:30 on June 2nd to buy that. After that, it's $75. So if you're going to buy a season pass for the pool, do it soon. So as you remember, the pool's going to be open the 3rd and 4th, and then it's going to be closed for the rest of that week because the kids got to get out of school, and then it'll open on the 8th. So we've been doing lifeguard training, we've been doing seasonal worker training, so everything's ready to go on the 3rd. We just got to make sure we pass that inspection. I'm pretty sure we will.
All right, let's keep those 80-degree temperatures going. It'll be perfect swimming activity out there. Human resources, a couple final updates for you here. Utility billing and special assessments clerk position. If you could give us an update there.
Well, she recently left to take a job closer to home. I don't blame her for that. She drives a long way. Well, we didn't have 2 internal candidates, so they've posted that job externally, and that'll be posted until the 6th of June, and hopefully we'll get some applicants for that job. That's a very difficult position. It's going to take a lot of training for whoever we get. In the meantime, we've trained internal people to do pieces of the job. So it's all over. Everybody's doing a little piece of the job, but we really do need a full-time person doing that job.
And speaking of training, I understand training still going on with the public works staff to help out with the golf course and other areas throughout the summer.
Well, we hire a lot of people to do the summer work. And of course, they have to have their orientation to the city, and they have to have their orientation to the employment of the city and how that works. So all of that training has been done. And now all those people are ready to go out and mow lawns and keep the golf course looking nice, and all those seasonal people at the pool. So lots of seasonal people to take care of during the summer months.
Few final notes to pass along. The media was recently looking at the city of New Hope for the police department and the great staffing efforts you have there. Tell us where it was profiled.
Well, we're kind of excited about this. We're the only police department around here that has a full contingency of police officers. Now, the police chief told me that that's not quite true. We're short one that they've hired. They're doing a background check and all that other stuff that's going on. So there's a publication called Axios, AXIOS, that did a feature on the police department and the recruiting. And that was really fun to see, very positive. And also our police chief did a little interview with Jason DeRusha on WCCO radio. and again about how we're hiring and how we're retaining our police officers and why they stay. So it was really very positive for the city of New Hope.
Fantastic. All right. We've got a calendar of events coming up with a few things that are going on in the city. We want to give a quick preview of one of those to make sure you know what's coming. That is the citywide garage sale. What are the dates and how can people get their garage sale registered?
So the sale is the 16th and 17th of June officially, but you can open early if you'd like. But the real date you need to know is June 5th. If you want your address put on that map that's going to be available, you have to do it by June 5th so that they know where the garage sale is going to be. So you can do that by calling the city's website or going onto their website or calling the city and tell them you want to register for the garage sale and they'll get you connected to the right person.
Fantastic.
That's always fun to do. And I just want to mention, if you do happen to go garage selling on Friday, we have Food Truck Fridays.
Right.
So you can come to New Hope City Hall. You can go to the food truck, get your food, go back to your garage sailing, just make a whole day of it on the 16th.
Sounds like a perfect day. And one other note to pass along, watch for the In Touch coming in the mail to you. And that is filled with information as well, Mayor.
It is. And there's a nice picture of our brand new city manager on the front of it. So if you want to see what he looks like, look at your In Touch.
There's your chance. All right. newhopemn.gov to find out more about what's happening in the city and stick with us. Here's a look at some other things happening around town. Mayor, thanks for your time. Look forward to talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Dave. Hope you have a nice week. Bye-bye.
You too. Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.